Hey everyone, I'm Scott. Welcome to another Cooking Connection virtual cooking class. I'm so excited you decided to spend the evening with us. I'm really excited. I'm your host tonight. My name is Scott. I'll be standing right here most of the night, moving around slightly to cook here and there. With me as always, our moderator, the fabulous Charlotte Samuel, our fact checker, our keeper on tracker, and our general all-around speaker of speaking during all these things. Charlotte, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks
I try to give you a
me.
well-rounded
That was a really good title.
fact checker, keeping
The
me on
Master of Ceremonies.
Master of Ceremonies, keeping me on track checker. We are excited today because, well, I'm very excited, but I'm also easily excitable. So, take it for what it is. We have a great class for you tonight. Tonight we're going to do some recipes, but we're also going to show you some fantastic ways to utilize a certain thing that's going on in stores right now. So right now, going on across all of our 400 plus HEBs, we have our tropical fruit is in season. It is here. If you walked into your local HEB, you've seen this beautiful display. Everything from coconuts to aloe vera to dragon fruit, plenty of mangoes, plenty of papaya, just stacked up like crazy. We're going to show you and hopefully help you to learn how to better utilize these things in your own home cooking. So if you may have walked in and I don't use coconuts, I'd rather just buy this. Fantastic, but we're going to show you how to crack open a coconut. You don't need an axe, you don't need a hammer, you don't need a gigantic guy cracking it for you. You don't need to crack it over a stone. You just need some simple tricks, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm also going to show you how to open up a papaya. We're going to talk about dragon fruit. We're going to do aloe vera filleting, and I'll get more into that later, why I call it filleting. Some great just tips and tricks to add to your culinary toolbox for when you need those great things. And of course, as we're kind of moving into, Charlotte, like spring, and as it starts to become a little hotter, I'm actually liking the fact that it's not fully incendiary outside yet. I'm kind of enjoying this last little bit as we're hanging on. But we have some, as we're kind of moving into spring and summer, the tropical fruit is definitely in array. It's here, all the great spring produce. If you've not been out to your local HEB, go check it out. Take a long, hard look at all the great stuff we have in produce going on. Again, there's plenty of tropical fruit, a lot of stuff. But as if anything could be different tonight, we have one thing that's different. I'm going to go over our recipes that you're going to have right in front of you. There's a couple of changes because we do the same thing you do. We shop at our local HEB, getting ready for what we do. We go through it and we realize, hey, I'm missing an ingredient. Don't worry. We feel your pain. Sometimes it happens, and we're there with you. And we're going to pivot, and I'm going to show you exactly how. So we're going to start tonight. Now, the recipe you may have in front of you says tropical rambutan. That's a tough one. You got to get your lips really. You got to lean into the vowel on that one. You got to rambutan, our tropical rambutan cheesecake, Keylime cheesecake. It's really, really good. It's really simple. So the rambutan, when I went to find it, apparently is selling out like crazy. So you guys are buying it. It's delicious. If you have not seen rambutan's a little furry fruit egg. It looks like a sea urchin almost, except without the spikes on it.
Yeah,
it's like a little
hairy
small, little hairy little. You called it an
thing,
alien egg or
yeah,
whatever you want to call it. These little things. Beneath that kind of alien exterior is a deliciously tropical fruit with a little bit of a seed in the center. They're amazing to eat just out of hand. So just literally tearing the skin off, it comes off incredibly easy. Along the same lines, we have lychee. If you've seen fresh lychee, I love fresh lychee. Lychee is best known in a lot of cocktails, martinis, things like that. It has a beautiful, slightly tropical flavor, nice and sweet, very, I would say very mild. I like, of the two, rambutan's probably my favorite. This is why we want to put it in the cheesecake. But I don't have any rambutan, but hey, that's okay, because we're going to pivot. I'm going to show you how to do a fantastic key lime cheesecake. And I'm going to show you, at the time we would put in our rambutan to our cheesecake, I'm going to show you how to fold in other great ingredients. Mangoes are plentiful, papayas. There's plenty of things you can add to this cheesecake to make it. Otherwise, it's fantastic just as a key lime cheesecake.
Imagine being the person that ate a rambutan for the first time.
So I know there's certain fruits where I feel like you'd look at it and you'd go, it's probably an animal. It could be poisonous, could be a seed, who knows what it is. And then that one person just had the guts and it's like, and just ate it and was like, it's good and it's delicious. And apparently rambutan has an extremely high amount of fiber.
Yeah.
It's like crazy, crazy fiber. And if you see them, they're like these little tiny circles of, they're these little hairy alien fruits.
They're
and
delicious. They're like
delicious.
Tropical grapes.
Native to Indonesia, Malaysia, they're fantastic. And they're really great. They work really well blended into drinks and things like that. Just remove the seeds. If you wanted to find lychee and you can't find fresh lychee, we do actually carry canned lychee in most HEBs. You'll find them in the international section. They're great as well. That's always a fallback if you can't find it. Because we're doing some recipes, we're going to do a little how-to. I want to show you how to do all this stuff. We're going a little bit dessert for the cheesecake. We're going a little bit breakfast, and then we're going to do something for the main course. So our breakfast, we're going to do a simple baked oatmeal with a mango yogurt. Really, really easy. And again, I'm going to show you how, if you don't want to use mango, if you want to use papaya, if you want to use kiwi, if you want to use dragon fruit, you can how to blend it in, when and where, and what time to do that. Really, really simple to do. And guess what? Because I went to the HEB late, apparently everybody at the HEB I was shopping at wanted their vanilla yogurt too. So I'm going to show you how to make a homemade vanilla yogurt out of our Greek yogurt. We're just going to pivot. That's what we're all about, pivoting and doing it. So baked oatmeal, kind of fun. If you're used to regular oatmeal, if you grew up in any place cold where your mom or your folks or whatever made you a bowl of oatmeal, I was never a huge fan. Malt oatmeal, it was a little more, but still not a big fan of those warm or hot cereals. This is kind of taking that and giving it a whole new facelift. So we're going to take that typical, all the ingredients. So Charlotte, what did you make in your oatmeal? What did you do? Would you do like cream, butter, just water, milk? How do you take your oatmeal?
I cook it with like milk or like some sort of like, almond milk or something. And then I like it with butter and some salt, so a little more savory. And then I put a bunch of fruit.
Oh yeah, you don't like it super sweet though?
No, I don't like it super sweet, and then
All
I
right.
usually do like fruit, and then I always pour a little bit more milk on top, like a porridge, right? So
It's like a little porridge? Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take that basic oatmeal, and we're going to kind of turn on its head. So I like to do, love to do homemade granola. We have made, usually at a time here, we do special events. We'll do about 22 quarts of granola at a time. Love to make granola. So I kind of took the same granola recipe and turned it into this baked oatmeal. So you're going to get notes of this nutmeg, some cinnamon, the vanilla, the maple syrup, the honey, of course a little bit of butter because, it's oatmeal. We got to make sure it's delicious and stick to your ribs. Really, really simple. And the thing I love about nutmeg is if you're not a fan of nutmeg is so interesting to be used in both savory and sweet. One of the most famous dishes nutmeg is usually in savory, besides like an Italian-style bechamel is like in scalloped potatoes, typically a little bit of that nutmeg in there to give it that flavor, which is really great. And it's completely different. Well, in a sweet dish, I feel like it adds, and it's going to sound weird, I feel like it adds a little bit of a cola flair. Like there's a little cola-y. Yeah. And you had a great fact earlier. I'm not a big soda drinker, but you said something about Coke. Coke's predominant ingredient is what?
You said that it had like this cola flavor, and I sort of put cinnamon and nutmeg together, but the predominant flavor in Coca-Cola is cinnamon.
I never would have, my palate must be broken because I haven't drank Coke in probably a while, but I would never get cinnamon on the.
Ice cold cola is delicious from time to time.
But I trust you implicitly. Although I do love our Mexican Cokes in the bottles; those are fantastic. That's the way to go. All right, the last thing we're gonna do is a little grilled halibut. Grilled halibut with our delicious spicy papaya chutney is the last recipe you have in front of you here. So the spicy papaya chutney again. Papaya to me, and I think to my moderator friend as well, is a little bit not bipolar. It talks, it's angry, and then it's happy. It's angry, it's happy. I can't figure out what it's doing.
It's
a little bit polarizing.
Yes.
Thank you. It goes, so some people either love it, some people hate it. In this dish, it works really, really well because we're going to get a little bit of sweetness. We're going to add a little bit of a fruit vinegar. So we're going to add our apple cider vinegar with the mother to the actual chutney we're going to make. It's going to have a little bit of spiciness from the Fresno chili. You can always use red jalapeno if you wanted to, and a little bit of shallot, a little bit of aromatic cooked down. Make it this nice jam. We're going to puree a little immersion blender. And we're going to kind of paint that over the top of our grilled halibut. Now, could you use any other fish besides halibut? Absolutely. We're just using halibut for the halibut. What? I know. Sorry.
Aw,
This is
just
C
for
material
the
first.
halibut.
We'll work our way to the A material. You just got to give us a chance here. All right. So what else would work with this? Also, grilled salmon. You can cut any firm flesh fish that you can grill will be great with this chutney. It's a little bit sweet. It's a little bit spicy. Charlotte tried it earlier. She said, hey, a little goes a long way because that stuff is spicy. So you can definitely dial down the heat if you need to. All right, let's get started. So we're going to start with dessert. We're going to start with the finisher. So our Keylime cheesecake was Rambutan. Now it's just a Keylime. So I'm going to grab my ingredients here. Now, so a quick couple notes, Charlotte, for you. This will actually make 2 pies. Why? Why do we want to make 2 pies? Because I'm using, the recipe was tested for this size pie. This is just the grab off the shelf. Now you'll notice though I have 2 different ones. So you can obviously grab, and I'll show our little camera down here, Rob. We have the just our Hill Country Fare basic graham cracker crust, totally fine. These are kind of cool. These are also gluten-free as an option because the cheesecake itself is actually gluten-free. So if you want to do a different kind of a nuttier crust here, you can go with our walnut or the pecan. These are diamond. These are really good. Found in the exact same section in the HEB.
Very
So
cool.
why 2 pies? Because if you were to make this cheesecake and you had a piece, and you took a slice, and you shared it with your family, and there's 3 to 4 people, and you realize, I want another slice, and the other 2 people go, well, I want another slice too, and all of a sudden this is gone. And then there's some animosity there, because if there just had been 2, all this could have been avoided. So you're welcome. There's 2 in advance. Now, if you don't want to make 2, if it's just for you, if there's just 2 of you, cut the recipe in half. It works just as good. Here we go. All right, so we're going to start here. We're going to get our, so we're going to start with so that's our sugar. We have vanilla. We have the sour cream and the cream cheese. So one of the biggest pet peeves for me with making cheesecake is letting the cream cheese sit at room temperature. I hate doing that. Now, will it serve you better having everything room temperature? Yes. However, I like to use this recipe using whipped cream cheese because it's easy to just throw in there at the last second. Mine is still cold. It's not gonna do anything differently. It's still gonna perform just as well. Why? Because it's whipped, it's soft, and it's not gonna go, it's not gonna sit there like a brick in the bottom of your mixer.
Okay, so it's like it emulsifies and
it's just easier to use. I love using whipped cream cheese, and also this is my secret for cheesecake. A lot of people think cheesecake is really, really hard to make. There's really not many ingredients in a cheesecake. It's really, really easy to make. And what you want out of a cheesecake, what I want out of a cheesecake is it to be very fluffy. I want it to be fluffy, I want it to be creamy. And so the whipped cream cheese is going to give you a little more fluff than just regular cream cheese. So the sour cream, now you made a comment earlier, Charlotte, about the difference between New York and Chicago. Those are the 2 styles, because you said cheesecake is ubiquitous across the world, right?
So yeah,
everybody has their own version.
Food anthropology and that sort of stuff. And every country, every region of the world has some version of a cheesecake. I mean, in England, sometimes they put Stilton cheese in them.
Ooh, that's a cheesecake. I'm like,
yeah, but in the United States, there's 2 main types of cheesecake. So I was reading, there's the Chicago, and then there's the New York, and the difference between the 2
sour
is
cream's going in.
New York style cheesecake has sour cream in it.
So here's the thing. This is my secret with cheesecake. So I like a little bit of sour cream, but if I was gonna a way to really kick this up a notch, if you don't want it too sour, I love to add creme fraiche. Exact same amount, 8 ounces versus 8 ounces of sour cream, because the creme fraiche is, while it's still a little bit sour, it's not like sour cream. It's a little bit more fatty, which is going to give you, again, that beautiful, I feel like cheesecake needs to have that. I moved my trash can, I did myself well. They're 60 yards away in either direction. I'm like, where's the trash can that's closer? I'm just going to put this right here. I'll get rid of it later. All right, so I'm going to put our vanilla extract in. So because we're going to bake this, I'm going to use a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract. I go heavier than most people do with vanilla extract. Reason being is because anytime you're going to heat up vanilla extract, obviously it's got alcohol in it, it's going to start evaporating, and when you put it in there, same thing with our baked oatmeal, there's 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Some people think whoa, it's too much. Honestly, you want that great vanilla flavor, and the cheesecake doesn't have a lot besides the key lime, but vanilla and key lime, vanilla rambutan and key lime, how it was originally designed, all work really, really well together, but it can dissolve or it can evaporate, and so you don't get as much of that flavor. So I always add a little bit more vanilla extract than you need to in baked dishes. All right, I'm gonna start this. So you'll notice, don't get jealous, this beauty, her name's Margaret, she's old. She's probably from the 1980s. I don't know where we found this. I found it behind some abandoned storefront. I don't know. It just found its way into our test kitchen, and I'm gonna use her.
I have to interrupt you. I just want you to know, that is the original mixer from the original test kitchen at HEB. That was.
Oh, this was
Rosie's mixer.
I'm just finding this out now. There you go.
I mean,
just finding out about. All right, so I'm going to put this. I'm going to scrape down. Always very, very important. Anything you do, I got to add our salt here. Very, very important that you always scrape down the sides, because as we're adding ingredients, obviously things are going to get mixed up. But there's little pockets that won't mix, and especially for the sugar and salt mixture, always want to make sure we scrape down our sides. So it's about a 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to just eyeball that and throw that in there, because I like salt. All right, the key lime zest and key lime juice. So in a pinch, if you couldn't, I usually find key lime everywhere. Every HEB I walk into, there's usually key limes around. There is something very unique about the flavor of key limes versus a regular lime. If you cannot find a key lime, totally fine to use a regular lime, but the flavor in the skin of the key lime and the juice is just much more pronounced and pungent to me. So it's about a tablespoon or a teaspoon of the zest and about a tablespoon of the juice. I'm gonna go ahead and add that in here. Juice goes in. The zest I'm gonna add. Same way, right over the top here. I don't know if you can see this in the top. I'll get my fat head out of the way, Rob. So a little zest goes right in here. Now, you may be wondering why I'm using the whip attachment. So we have the whipped cream cheese. I'm using the whip instead of a paddle. I know a lot of recipes may call for a paddle. I want this to be extremely airy. I want to whip a lot of air into this, and so having the whisk attachment is going to help it get nice and thick, and it's going to help it get really, really creamy. It's going to pull up a lot of volume. So by the time I'm putting it in the actual pie shells, it's going to be voluminous.
So the only
like you
leavener
want your
in a
hair to be
cheesecake
voluminous.
is going to be the eggs, right? So by whipping in, putting the whisk in there or the whip attachment, you add
Sorry,
some more
say it again.
air.
Margaret is really loud. She's being very loud. I couldn't hear you. Say it again. The
I
whip
was
what?
just saying that the only leavener in cheesecake is the eggs. Right?
It is.
So, like,
Absolutely, it's the eggs.
adding in that air is important.
It is. So, and again, using the whipped cream cheese, I'm telling you, it's like the fastest little hack, because trying to do those bricks, it's like you see those recipes where it's like, let the bricks come to room temperature. This could take up to 17 hours. And you're like, I just want to make a cheesecake. And this is so fast to do cheesecake that why wait on the bricks to thaw out? Just use the whipped. All right, so I'm going to mix these two together just because it's easier to pour in there. And I'm going to go a little bit at a time. So a little bit of the, I just kind of get a yolk in every time if I can and let it blend. Yep, there it goes.
I think it's so funny that you want cheesecake immediately, but you make cookie dough and let it sit in the refrigerator overnight.
Because that's got flour in it. You gotta let flour, it's got to cure.
Okay.
Cure flavor is so much better. You know, if my buddy Sean Robertson were here, he'd say the same thing. Let that cookie dough rest overnight. I'm telling you, if you have not done that, it doesn't matter if it's off the Nestle Toll House box, whatever cookie recipe, if you're making chocolate chip cookies, let the batter, either chocolate cookies, whatever, let it rest. Cover it with the plastic wrap right on top. Let it sit overnight, refrigerate it. I'm telling you, when you make them the next day, so good. That was a head exploding for that emoji. Is there an emoji you can put in there for?
I'm sure.
Are we to the point where, Rob, you can do, is there effects where we can have, no? All right, we'll get there in time. Just give us time.
So you did
All right.
you put your heavy cream and your eggs.
Heavy cream and the eggs together
4
and mix them. You can
eggs.
see our mixture here. I've got the salt. What else am I missing? Anybody at home? What am I missing? Nothing. I've got everything except the
Got it.
Rambutan. At this point, where we are right now, I'm going to give it a little scrape. So you can see there's a little bit of the zest hanging on the wire whisk, which is going to happen because we've got a whip attachment. So when I'm done here, I'm going to give you a little trick to show you. When we're done whisking it, I like to take it off, take the whisk and kind of give it another little toss and kind of hit it on the side just to make sure everything goes on there, it gets off. At this point, this is where I would add all the extra ingredients. So if I'm going to add the Rambutan, I would add the chopped Rambutan. If I was going to add chopped mango, I could add the chopped mango and just throw it all in there together and just kind of give it a couple little turns. Now I'm going to get a little volume out of this. So I'm going to turn up. Easy, Margaret. Easy. We're going to ease you into this. There she goes. You know, I'm pretty impressed that a machine that has been here as long as good old Margaret here. Now, next week I'll probably rename her to something else just to make, the machine feel good about itself. So you see how I don't know if you can see it from the top cam. It's nice and creamy. So now when I put this in the actual pie shells themselves, you're going to see this. So this is my trick. So you ready for this? So give it just kind of stuff on the bottom because things tend to get stuck. Not all mixers are perfect. So give it a little, and then
That
just give it a
looks
little.
good.
I won't do that. I'll wait. All right, that goes over here. I've got our mixture. So you can see how it's got a little jiggle. You see that? It's got a little wiggle to it. So it's a little bit thicker than a normal cheesecake. I like it to be that way. I like it to be a little bit thicker. So when we pour it. Now, I'm going to use one pecan or walnut. Let's go pecan. One of my pecan crust. And then I'm going to do, because I like to, I'm going to use these mini graham cracker ones, these mini graham cracker shells, pie shells, because I want something that's, what if I want to eat the pie out of hand? What if I want to use these? And I'm going to use these. So I've got 2 pies. So now the second one, you're going to see this right before your very eyes here, should fill up about 12 of these little mini pies. So if you're doing this, you can absolutely use 1 pie to fill up, or 1 part of the cheesecake to fill up the entire 1 shell, and then you'll scoop the batter into the other ones. I like it a little bit higher, and I'll show you what I mean by higher. Is I'm going to actually, you know what I'm going to do, Charlotte? Let's do this first, just because
The ice cream
I want
scoop.
to. The
my
ice cream
favorite.
scoop.
It's my favorite utensil, y'all.
You know, I feel like when I was a child at camp, I used to dread the scoop like this because it was always like, it'd slam it down on your plate, and it was always like a scary thing. So it took me a while to get over my PTSD on having stuff
What
scooped
were they
in a...
feeding you at camp?
Who knows? I blocked it out. It's been a... We'll unpack that later. Maybe sometime in the fall.
Mashed potatoes.
We'll deal with the lady with the sneer and the big mole. She was really angry. She was like slamming it on the I don't know. It's all a blur. Who knows? I mean, it could have happened. It could have not. I could have just, It's
I
like,
think that the ice cream scoop is a very useful tool. You can
It is,
use so
very
many
much.
different things with it.
So you can see here that I didn't really go super chintzy on this because there's egg in this, like we said, it is going to rise, right? So as it's baking, it's going to rise up, but eventually it will settle back down as it's cooling and fall, and I'll show you that because I've got some already made. Now, making the cheesecake takes a little bit longer. Yes, true story. I'm going to kind of give these a little bit of, you can kind of see here, just kind of give them a little shimmy shake. They will kind of distribute, but you can see this batter already, Charlotte's way thicker than most.
It looks really nice.
It's a little bit, it's a little bit thicker.
We have a question from Kelly.
Yes.
She asks, is the chill time different for the larger pies versus the individuals? And then would the cook time be different?
Yes, and I was going to say that. Thank you very much. The cook time on the smaller pies is about 10 to 15 minutes less, depending on your oven. I will say this, because this is a thicker custard, always watch it. Give it about 45. Everybody's things are different. Typically, when I tested this, it usually works with a bigger pie at about an hour. If you notice that your oven's cooking a little bit hotter, as soon as the pie doesn't really move and it seems to be set and you can kind of wiggle it, if you're at the 45-minute mark, turn off the oven. If it's pretty set, turn off the oven, and instead of letting it rest in there for half an hour, just pull it out and let it sit on the counter and let it finish, because there's enough residual heat in the actual pie shell and then the cream itself that it'll finish cooking, it'll set up, and it'll be really nice. The worst thing that happens if you overcook it, it's just going to have a little bit of that skin on there. It's still going to taste really good, but it just has that, that's just the only watch out.
Nothing a little bit of whipped cream can't cover.
Exactly. So you notice in here, I have our kitchen table. Well, yes, it is a kitchen and table Pyrex dish. I put it in the oven because I wanted to have a little water bath. So the trick to cooking any cheesecake, and yes, I'm leaving the door open, I know that, don't worry about it. The good thing is you want to cook cheesecake low and slow with a water bath. Now, I've worked at plenty of places where they'll just do it at a low heat and they won't put any water in it, and it's fine because they're going to put a mess load of whipped cream or topping, whatever on there, so it'll hide whatever cracks. But I want you to experience the beautiful uncracked tops of good cheesecake. I'm at 300 degrees. I've got a water bath underneath. What I don't want you to do is, this is what I would say to you, a lot of cheesecakes in those, especially the ones that have the string porn pans, have you put the actual cheesecake in the water and pour water around the side or halfway up like you would a creme brulee. Okay. Creme brulees typically are in a ramekin that are sealed. If for some reason you were to put that in a pan and pour water in it, which is fine, if there's any hole in this, which we don't know if there is, I don't want you to come back to a soggy, oh, it's perfect, there's no cracks. You go to cut into it and you're like, wah, 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 and you're like, now it's ruined. It's wet and
soggy.
Crusty, it's soggy. So better to just start somewhere dry where the water can't get to it and just let the steam hang up. This down here works just as good as pouring it around there, I promise you. All you want is a little bit of moisture in the actual thing here. Right, I don't want to burn myself because this is hot. I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to set the other pie right in here next to this. And I want to kind of show you, because over the next half hour, I'll say, it'll start to kind of puff up. I want to show you what that looks like as it kind of puffs up. I'm going over here. Catch you on the fast cam. He's going fast, all the way to the sink. All right. I'm getting rid of that. So I want you to be able to see kind of what that looks like as we're doing it, because I want you to kind of, there's things I want you to kind of watch out for as it's puffing up. Again, the eggs, that souffle, it's going to kind of rise. And so I want you to be able to see where you're at. And then I'm also going to show you kind of as we do the jiggle test, jiggle, wiggle, whatever you want to say, jiggle or wiggle test. I'm going to make this easier. I'm pulling it over. Okay, next recipe. All right, flip it on. So obviously, the cheesecake is something that's going to take a little bit of time. I made some in advance that are cooled. The actual cooking time is between an hour to an hour and a half. Total time, cooling, is probably close to 2 hours. Once you're done, once it's completely cooled to room temperature, cover it, put it in the fridge. Make sure there's no steam once you cover it, because you don't want that to kind of continue cooking the pie or make everything soft. Let it cool completely. Cover it, wrap it, throw it in your fridge overnight. I recommend overnight. 4 hours is probably sufficient enough to at least have everything set and eat. But overnight lets everything kind of settle, all the flavors build. All right, baked oatmeal. Let's do this. Baked oatmeal. Here we go. All right, if you have not gotten our fantastic, we went through this. Borosilicate?
Yes.
Fancy word for these great affordable bowls that we sell. Our K&T bowls are a borosilicate, made in France, borosilicate. I have no idea what it is. Charlotte looked it up because I was like, what does that mean to me as a consumer? Why do I want to buy something that has borosilicate?
Basically, it's the way they treat the glass is that it doesn't,
Very
it
well.
won't crack. at extreme temperatures. So you could go from a hot to a cold,
So-
and it won't crack as easily like other types of glass.
Which is what you want. Now, I stupidly, and I'll say this, a lot of times I get paid to fail, mostly paid to fail, but we learn from our failures. That's the whole thing. We fail forward. I have put a lot of times a cold item, and I just did it with our other, when I was trying to put the other oatmeal in there, I put it in there cold to a hot oven, and I'm like, ooh, and immediately, usually, you know, that temperature change obviously can break the glass. This stuff, and I don't recommend, that doesn't mean I want you to go out and grab your brand new $14 K&T thing and go, I'm going to put a bunch of ice in it, throw it in a 500-degree oven, and just watch what happens. Like, don't do that.
Challenge accepted.
But these are fantastic. They're made in France, so they're definitely fancy. They fly them over first class.
Did you say they're definitely
They drink
fancy?
champagne. They're what?
I heard you say fancy.
Fancy? Fancy. Well, they're from France, so they're fancy. Yeah, they're drinking champagne on the ride over. These are very well taken care of. I recommend you get one whenever you can. They're fantastic to use, and I'm going to show you how we're going to use ours. All right, so it starts with, we have a mango yogurt we're going to make. But of course, when I went to my H-E-B, the yogurt was blown out. Now, you can use a competitor's vanilla yogurt just fine, but I want to show you how to. I love our H-E-B Greek yogurt. It is very thick. It is made here in San Antonio at a phenomenal facility that I've toured. It is amazing what we do. All our own dairy, and this is part of that process. It's really, really cool with the bacteria and everything, and it's a really, really thick yogurt. And so I'm going to show you how to flavor the yogurt to a vanilla. It's very, very simple, and it's really easy to do. And if you need to, if you go, they're out of my yogurt, and you go up front, and you're like, wait a minute, I remember that class, that guy with the hair said, use the yogurt and just add the vanilla to it. I'm assuming, I feel like I'm having a bad hair day, Charlotte. I feel like it's
actually
time
perfect.
It's time for a mow. It's definitely time for a mow.
Your hair is perfect. You are perfect.
It's time for a mow.
Just the way you are.
All right. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to start off with our old-fashioned oats. So do not use quick oats. The recipe will not work with quick oats. It's not meant for quick oats. There's enough liquid in this that if you try to use quick oats, it will not work the same. It'll fall apart. It'll be all nasty, mushy, and then you really will have just regular old oatmeal. So I want you to use rolled oats because we want that thicker piece, the old-fashioned, because it's going to soak in all that flavor. So we've got the butter, the eggs, the maple syrup, the honey, all the different spices, nutmeg, cinnamon. We want all that stuff to soak into this while it's baking. So I need a 3.5, so there's my half cup. You can see how I measure. It's very, a little over the board is fine. There's 1, 2, and 3.
Very nice.
All right, 3 oats. I use the organic. You can use regular. We can also use, I also love to use this, people that are gluten-free. You can use the Bob's Old Fashioned rolled oats. Those are also gluten-free. They sell those at most H-E-Bs. I just knocked that all down, and I don't think I can reach you, Rob. I'm sorry. Can't take me anywhere. All right, so in our bowl here we have our oats. We're going to give all the dry ingredients a mix here. So I'm going to use our salt. So I'm going to use a nice pinch of salt. Pinch of salt. Why the salt? Because you got to taste it, right?
It balances all that sweetness.
We got to have it all. A little bit of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, just to make sure we have enough, a little leavening agent in here. We're going to have the sweetness. We got our melted butter. Now, all the wet ingredients are going to go into a blender, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not that I'm lazy. It's that I've just gotten smart, and I've applied laziness to it. That's the whole reason why we're going to do something a little different here. So I have my, this is my nutmeg. So again, we're going to have that cola flavor. So this needs a 1/2 teaspoon. And the 1/2 teaspoon fits in this little jar perfectly. Again, that cola flavor. Now, if you love nutmeg, I would recommend using fresh grated nutmeg, but you don't have to. This is just a little bit easier. Let's see if our again.
Oh, that's disappointing.
You know, who do I got to talk to get a jar lid that'll fit these little guys in there, right? All right, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Again, if you love cinnamon, go a little more. A little cinnamon if you want to. All right, that's all the dry. So here we go. In the sky cam, a little toss. Toss it all together.
You're so fancy.
Fancy or just?
Fancy. You're so
I mean, if
fancy.
you see all the dust that kicked up on myself, a little baking powder. All right, dry goes away. I'm going to pull our blender over here. Now, you do not need to have a $749 Vitamix blender. You don't have to. We have it here at the Culinary Center in our test kitchen because we do different things with it. I actually like to use a $12 Oster blender that I got from H-E-B, GM section. They're perfect for this. All I'm using this for is just to blend everything together. So if everything's not room temperature, it's totally fine. We're using melted butter as per the recipe. So if the melted butter is going into cold eggs, all the syrup and everything, it's all a little chilly. It's not gonna, I don't want it to split up and have these little molecules of everything in there. So we're going to blend it all up together. So I'm going to add the butter.
Melted butter.
Melted butter goes in. And this at this point is kind of room temperature because I microwaved it earlier.
Is the melted butter like it should be melted because you want it to be all wet and like?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to add eggs that have, now that my eggs have been sitting at room temperature for maybe 15 minutes, so they're not super, maple syrup, obviously one of our sweeteners here. Good amount of maple.
Hey, let me ask you, do you ever use like egg substitute in anything?
No.
I know that you could use like flax and water, or there's like some egg replacers.
I don't because I feel like when it comes to baking, there's just certain things that I'm unwilling to compromise on. And I know there's, especially with special dietary things, like I completely understand. I just like to just stick to the regular old stuff because not everything always transfers. You know what I mean? Like
That's
not
true.
everything is always, about a quarter cup of honey-ish. I'm not going to be upset if it's a little bit sweeter.
I don't like honey.
You don't like honey?
We've
So
had
you can
this
skip the
conversation
step.
a million times. Can I just double up can I just add more maple?
If you want to, yes, you can. You can double up the maple. Again, I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of the vanilla extract.
There you go.
4. Again, this is getting baked for 45 minutes. It's going to be a evaporation. I love to have that vanilla flavor with this. Okay. This is where, on the lowest setting, I just checked to make sure it wasn't on high, because sometimes it's on high and it goes boom, and you're like I said, it's all over the camera. And then, all right, here we go. You ready for the top camera? What? All right.
Oh, I totally.
All I need to do here is I'm just going to mix it. I'm blending it. I'm not going to go super high. It doesn't need anything special. I'm going to maybe go up to like 2 or 3, but I'm just trying to make sure it's all blended. In go my eggs. I'm going to whip it a little bit more. Again, I don't want too much air in this. I just want to make sure everything's nicely incorporated. I want a nice homogeneous mixture is all I'm looking for. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's it. Done. Blender done. All right, move that out of the way. I have our oats here. I'm going in with the mixture. You know what I forgot, Charlotte?
What?
My half and half.
Oh.
But I got it. You know why? Because it's standing by. We're at a half a cup of half and half. Goes into this. I was like, I know there's a dairy element to this.
Good catch.
I'm telling you. That was for Brenda. Was Brenda here? Brenda always usually catches that. Always catching it. All right, here we go. Now that's just going to get mixed here. Let's set that guy aside. And this is going to go right into our Pyrex dish. Now, yes, as you're looking at this from the top, you're going to go, it looks a little wet. Absolutely. But remember, we have old-fashioned oats. So those are going to hydrate. They're going to get nice and puffy with all this delicious liquid. Again, the half and half. You could use milk in this. I feel like if you've never had a bowl of cereal with half and half, you need to try it. First of all, try the half and half. And then, number one, you'll thank me afterward. You may be a little angry, but you're going to thank me. Because when you eat half and half with the cereal, it makes all the difference in the world. Same thing like this. You could use milk. Milk is fine. But half and half it's half cream, half milk. So it's like flavor wins out for me. All right, this is a little bit of a bigger casserole dish, which is totally fine. So now, the question that the customer had earlier about, what I said, the student, these are virtual cooking classes, the student had earlier about cooking times. So this was tested in one of our kitchen and table Pyrex dishes, Pyrex style dishes, and it works at about 45 minutes to an hour. Now, if you wanted to make a really thick, like if you wanted to go an 8x8 square, absolutely you can do it. It is going to take a little bit longer, and I would just check it with a toothpick to make sure that there's no liquid remaining. It should come out pretty clean, and you just want to make sure it's all set, but just know the thicker this is, the more you puff it up, the longer it will take in the oven. So just a quick note to jot down for yourself. All right, 325-degree oven, in it goes, nice and flat. Again, about 45 minutes. 45 minutes, okay. Rob, you ready for this? Can you see this? You see what our cheesecake is doing?
Oh, they're puffy.
So you see how they're puffing up, but they're not cracking. That's right, they're not cracking. Why? We got a little water. We're at nice even 300 degrees, so they're puffing up. Now it's going to continue to do that. And as long as there's moisture in there, they shouldn't crack. Shouldn't crack. They could crack, but they shouldn't. All right, this is going out of the way here. And we're on to our halibut. Now before we, I'm going to start the chutney because it needs to cook a little bit. And then I'm going to go into kind of showing you how to cook up some, easy tiger. I'm going to show you how to chop up some of this great fruit and how to use some of these great things. The coconut's probably my favorite one. So the papaya chutney we're going to use. Oh, I didn't make the yogurt. The whole thing with the baked thing was the yogurt, right?
So
all right.
your vanilla yogurt that you make.
Yes.
I make that yogurt. I don't buy vanilla yogurt anymore.
I don't either.
I buy one type of yogurt, just the plain, and then
Yep,
I mix
full
it
fat.
myself as I.
I'm telling you. Altufo. I always say it wrong.
Altufo.
Altufo.
There you go.
Close. I'm
Sounds
close.
good.
Altufo mango. So it is it's a hybrid. It's actually one of my favorite mangoes to use. We sell the large mangoes, which I don't have over here right now, but I'll grab one out of the fridge in a second. Oh, yeah, I do. The large mangoes, always really good as well. I prefer this guy because they're less fibrous. So as they get a little sweeter and they get a little more ripe, these can tend to kind of be stringy. If you've ever worked with the mangoes before, they tend to get a little bit, sometimes they're a little stringy.
Yeah.
They don't always have to be. This one also has a little bit more of that tropical flavor. So I'm going to peel this and I'm going to show you how to cut it. In every mango is a very oblong seed. So as you cut into a mango, just to show you, you're going to have this weird seed. It's never the same. Sometimes it can be in different areas. But as you cut into it, I'm going to show you how to basically dice this mango fully intact. Like is the way I'm holding it right now. I'm peeling off the skin. Now, if the skin is really, really loose, if they're really, really ripe, usually this happens on the larger ones. I just use a knife and just skin it. It's pretty thin skin, so it comes off very easily. I'm going to move this over to our trash.
I believe these
So
mangoes
much
come
trash.
from Chiapas, Mexico.
Chiapas, Mexico. So we're going to find where the seed is. So I'm going to put the knife in. I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put the knife in. So you see how it goes down pretty far? You
Yeah.
can kind of see I'm making little slices. So I'm going to cut all the way down just a little bit in each thing. Straight down. Probably don't know if you can see it from the top cam. I'll try and move my
I
fingers
see
out of the
what
way.
you're doing.
You see that I made those little slits in it? See that? Super cool. Now, I'm going to turn the mango, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, really, really small. So I'm going to go straight down as well. You see what I'm doing here? You see
I
the little
see what
cross
you're
pattern?
doing.
See that?
Have you ever done that thing with like the glass where like you like cut the mango off from the seed and then you like scrape it on the side of a glass and like
Oh, have it like fall into the,
Yeah.
I have not. But it'd be easy enough to do, and I'll show you. So now we have our mango. I cut the bottom off so it stands up nicely. And to dice it,
look at that.
right? Because I've made those slits all the way down to where the seed is. The seed is going to stop me. So basically I start to get to here, the seed starts to kind of stop me. But I've got all that beautiful mango. Do the same thing on the other side. Now I've got a flat surface. Again, straight down. I thought this was the coolest trick the first time I ever learned this.
This is the first time I'm ever seeing it, and
So again, I've got a flat surface, mango, straight down. Come on, look at that, it's perfectly diced. I can't chop that normally. There's no way I could chop that normally. I need this atulfo mango. All right, there's all my mango meat. That's ready to go. So you can kind of see there's a little thing there. So I could probably, curve off the rest of this meat in there, but this little seed runs pretty far from top to bottom. It starts to get really, really fibrous and can ruin your knife. So I just stop when I get to that point. But again, so in the plain, this is the plain yogurt. Has to be a pinch of salt, a little pinch of salt, a little pinch of salt. The vanilla. So I've got my vanilla extract. I ran out of that one. Where's my other vanilla extract? Uh-oh.
it's up in the front of your lime shelf.
Emergency.
I got you.
While you're here. Fact checker.
I'm here for you.
Finder of things. Keeper
Yes.
of the stone. Are you the keeper of the stone?
Um,
Starting to realize what's going on here. All right, so a little bit of vanilla extract. Now, if I had it on hand, I would absolutely use it. That vanilla bean paste you've seen Chef Charlotte use, I love that stuff. It gives that little vanilla bean fleck to the entire yogurt, which is great. This is totally fine though, and I'm going to use just enough honey. If you don't want to use honey, you can use maple syrup. I like honey in this.
I use the maple syrup.
So I'm going to use about a quarter cup or more as you want for sweetness. Now, for the mango, I'm going to take my knife. Now, I can throw it in there. If you want it a little bit toothsome or al dente, you could basically use it chopped like that. It's fairly small. But instead, I'm going to kind of smash it down a little bit. Ooh, it's cold, it's squishy. I don't know if I'm happy or if I'm just like, all right, this will work. All right, a little chop, because again, I want to make sure all that great mango flavor. I need my second knife up here. I don't have my second knife. I need a double. This needs to be a double knife chop. All right. I'm just going to kind of pulverize this. Recipe calls for about 1/3 of a cup of the Altufo mango. I like a little bit more, so I'm just going to use the entire mango here. Again, good enough, right? Here we go.
That looks
Slide
good.
the cutting board to the edge, right into
If I made this guy, so like, how long is this going to be okay for in my fridge? Like a couple of days,
So
5 days?
will keep for a good long time.
Yeah.
However, with all the stuff in it, I mean, I've done this for 2 weeks and it's been fine.
Okay.
Just check it. If you keep it, don't keep it in the door of your fridge. The door is the hottest place in your fridge because it's constantly getting opened. So keep things you want to last longer in the back of your fridge, not in the door of your fridge.
That's solid advice, Chef.
My solid, my little advice. All right, and then a whisk. So whisk it up. So everything gets whisked together here. That'll get thrown into our fridge to cool while the oatmeal is baked. But there's your homemade vanilla yogurt. Again, vanilla bean. If you got a fresh vanilla bean at home, scrape that guy out, throw it in there.
You could just put that right back into the container of the Greek yogurt and then put the lid on it. You don't have to use another container.
That's usually how is that how you do it?
Yeah.
You take the whole thing and you just dump in your honey, your vanilla.
Well, it depends.
You throw it all back in there.
Sometimes I buy the big thing and I use some Greek yogurt for some things, right?
Right.
And then I use some for a mix of vanilla, and that way I don't have to have like a container of plain and a container of strawberry and a container. I just have
And you
one.
can absolutely add fresh strawberries. You can add a lot of. I mean, you could add anything to it, really.
Well, now I'm going to do
Anything.
mango. That's a new thing.
Mango's delicious. When we have passion fruit's one of my all-time favorites. Is really, really good. All right, this chutney, strawberry papaya. So our regular papaya, I'm going to show you how to cut that in a second, but strawberry papaya, similar, just tiny, baby papaya. Also known as Caribbean papaya. Most HEBs I've seen are now carrying this in there. They're really, really good. So Charlotte and I were talking earlier, papaya sometimes can be a little polarizing, not bipolar. It's not mad and then it's happy. It's polarizing. It's a polarizing flavor. Believe it or not, I do know the difference. I know it seems hard to believe, but I do know the real difference between the two.
I know
All
you
right.
do. I like papaya, like green papaya salad, right? I'm not big on the ripe papaya.
Absolutely. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But you know, I did try that chutney you made.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's spicy.
It'll also put some hair on your chest. Yeah, those Fresno chilies I'm using are a little spicier. Okay, so you see what I did? Just cut it right in half. The seeds are very soft in papaya, and the seeds in a larger papaya, like this guy right here, obviously they're a little bit bigger, but the insides look relatively the same. The strawberry papaya has a little darker color. I prefer strawberry papaya over regular papaya just because I feel like it's a little bit sweeter, and it has a little less, our trash can on wheels, what will they think of next? I feel like it has a little more sweetness. It has a little more of that kind of tropical flavor. So I'm just going to scrape out this stuff here. Now, typically you could skin this, but I just want to kind of show you these guys right here. I'm just going to scoop out the flesh and put it into a thing because everything's going to get put in an immersion blender. But for the recipe, you just scrape it out. You would take the skin off, you would dice it, remove the seeds, and just kind of like just a good rough chop is all you really need. But I'm going to show you how to make it easier. What's that?
Can you eat the seeds?
I think you can. I don't because, frankly, I find them a little offensive. But no, you can. I think you can eat really any seed, you know. But then the question goes, will you grow a papaya tree in your stomach? I don't know.
You know, I didn't eat watermelon for a really long time because
I don't have any hard evidence
somebody told me I'd grow a watermelon in my.
Here's the thing. I don't have any scientific data saying that it won't grow in my stomach, so I just avoid it altogether, right? And there probably is scientific data out there. I'm sure Charlotte's Googling it right now.
So the answer is, we think you can, but we're not sure.
We think you can, but I'm not going to because I don't want to grow a watermelon out of my stomach. That's just too much. I mean, how do they, then how do I harvest it? Like, right, that presents all kinds of problems. All right, so you can see this papaya is a little more ripe. I'm going to cut off the unripe part. I still like it. There's good flavor here. So in this exact chutney with the papaya here, we got a lot of flavors kind of pulling and pushing each other. So we have, obviously, the spice from the Fresno chili. We've got a little bit of the aromatic from the shallot. So they play really, really well together. However, if you wanted to, you can always use, if you don't like Fresno chili or you feel like it's too hot, you can always use like a poblano. You see what I just did there? I did that really fast, Rob. I'm sorry.
Hey, so I just found out that you can eat the seeds.
You can?
Of the papaya, but they are very bitter.
Oh, I thought you said they are very poisonous. I was like, well, then I don't want to eat them, do I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or maybe
try
you want
one,
me
Tompkins.
to. I dare you to try a papaya seed.
So it looks like you're cutting that like you would cantaloupe.
Exactly. It's exactly what I was going to say. Yes. I'm going to just cut these. Obviously, there's not as much meat on these that there is on a regular cantaloupe, but I'm just kind of taking the skins off, discarding them, and I'm just going to chop them up. And obviously, if it's not ripe enough, it's okay.
Okay.
Just scrape off what you can and use those.
I just want to give you a time check.
Yes.
Chef.
Yeah.
You have about 15 minutes or so. You're at 15 minutes.
Perfect. This is perfect. This is very, very perfect. All the time in the world. All right, so we have and by all the time in the world, I mean a little bit of time.
So do they call them
15
strawberry papayas because the color, like the color of the flesh?
They do, and the more ripe they get, I think the more they start to kind of look like that. They look a little more strawberry-ish. They also have a little more of, I would say, of a fruity flavor.
Okay.
All right, this is plenty of papaya. I'll get rid of these guys. So as this is all cooking. Now, the halibut I have is not going to take very long. I want to play the prank on you where I act like I cut myself, but I don't, just to try and buy me some time, but I'm not going to do that to you tonight. All right, here we go. Papaya goes in. It's about 2 cups of papaya, which is a pint. See, I may not know about borosilicates, but you talk about pints and cups and ounces, I'm your guy. All right, this is going to go over here. So we are going to chop up our shallots here. All right, shallots and Fresno chili. So it's about a cup of each. So the Fresno chili, again, if you don't like spice, I'm not a huge spice guy. You can leave these out. And these were definitely spicier, as we found out earlier today. You can take the seeds out. You can just take the seeds out and then just slice them up like that. But you can just leave them whole like this. I think it adds I'll suck it up for the aesthetics of it, because I think it looks really good in this chutney to have some of those little seeds in there. I'm just going to eyeball about a cup here. Which is about 4 to 5 chilies here.
So what makes it a chutney or a jam or a jelly?
So
I did not mean to put you on the spot.
No, I feel like
Okay.
so jams and jellies. One is usually thickened with a pectin and doesn't have all the fruit in it.
So
and
it's
I
like a
believe
puree.
it's like a puree. I think that's a
right.
jam.
Jelly.
I think
It's
that's a
a
jelly. Is
jelly.
that jelly? Yeah, jelly. Jam has like pieces of the fruit in it. I prefer jam. I like making homemade jams without any pectin because most fruit has enough pectin anyway to thicken up. But then a chutney is like a thicker kind of, usually out of fruit, usually like apricot or something. If I'm not mistaken, more Indian in origin. Is that right? Am I right on that?
I feel like
Maybe way
yes,
off.
but I also don't know.
Chutney is also kind of a term that's just being used. It's kind of been, widely used for a lot of different things. Cranberry chutneys, we use it kind of, it's a cooked kind of fruit.
Yeah.
Compote or whatever, a little different from a compote. Different from a coulis. Coulis are not cooked typically.
So
Coulis just a
papayas
fresh-
also have like a natural like tenderizing
Yes.
like enzymes in them.
So thinly slice our shallots here. So again, about a cup. Now, if you want to julienne this, if you wanted to, we could definitely julienne. But I'm just going to slice it.
Yes, chef.
What's that?
Chutneys are actually, you are correct, Indian in origin, from India. Good job.
Every once in a while, I'll get one right, every once in a while. All right, there's our shallots. This is going in here. All right, a little oil in a hot pan. Over to the stove cam. Back burner. I got a little oil here. I almost put wine on that. That would have been funny. A little wine and a little bit of our leftover dry vermouth would have been a good one. All right. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this in just a
So
second
how many
here.
chilies is that?
It's about 5 chilies.
Okay,
It's being
so
about
that's-
5, about a cup. Now, if you're using, I also have red jalapenos in the recipe because you can use red jalapenos.
Okay.
I'm going to get our halibut out. Now, let me show you while this is cooking down. And luckily, I did get ahead and I already did this. While the chutney is going to start cooking down, I'm going to show you how to break down some of this fruit, or just how to cut it up and just how to show you how to do it. The biggest one I want to show you really is the coconut, because I love chopping up coconuts. I've chopped up so many coconuts. There's something cathartic about back of my knife, right into the pan here.
I'm going to say this. Before I saw you do this, like if I was ever stranded on a like deserted island,
Yeah.
I would die because I would not know how to open
Not
this
how to do it?
coconut. And I didn't realize it was so easy. So I'm very impressed.
Well, it doesn't take a lot of muscle. I think that's the thing that most people think of. They need to have like a hammer or something really big to do. All right, a little salt, a little pepper to get those going.
And then
I keep want to call it guava. My papaya is in there as well. All right, so first of all, things to look for. Now, if you go pick out a coconut, there are ways to pick out a bad coconut. So things to look for, and I'll show you. So as you see, I don't know if Rob, you can see that. So there's a little bit, see the little dark spots? Almost where it's kind of started weeping out of the shell. There's little dark spots. There's also like a little less fur. It almost looks like, the way it's looking right now, kind of like a little orangutan that has like its little fur, but some of the fur is missing up here. So if you see some of that, those are typically the ones that may not be as good. And as I crack this one open, you can definitely see, whoa, not good. But the cool thing was, I've never had it happen where the entire thing of meat came out. Now, it does stink because it is rotten, but it was really cool to kind of see that whole thing come out. So now you see what it can look like. I'm going to show you what a fresh one, this is what they should look like, and I'm going to show you how to crack one open. So we need a bowl, first of all.
Because you want to save all that coconut
Gotta catch the water. What can you do with, I'm not going to use my really nice, my $12 Dexter knife. I'm going to go back to the $7 KitchenAid cheapo. You don't need a fancy knife for this. You don't need a special equipment. You just need a regular knife.
Listen, Tompkins, you are coming to my next party, and we are serving rum drinks out of coconuts, and you're going to be doing this all night.
So what can you do with the juice that's in here? So we love to use it for drinks. We also love to cook rice in it. We use it as part of our cooking liquid for rice. It gives it a really nice flavor. So all I'm going to do is, you can see I'm not hitting this very hard. I'm just going to slowly rotate this. At some point, the shell's going to start to kind of weaken. You're going to get a little crack in it. Once it starts to crack, again, this is not a lot of pressure. Up, see, up. Okay, You see what I have here? That's the initial crack. We're tracking. I can hear it sizzling. It's my sixth sense. I like how I did. Don't do this when you're talking about your mind. Don't do that with your knife. All right. So you can see how it's starting to crack. Now I'm just going to kind of follow along that line and keep going.
Y'all, rum
See the crack?
drinks.
See the crack?
Tompkins is going to crack coconuts all night. We're going to drink rum drinks. It's going to be, look at that. Oh, like an egg. Oh, beautiful.
There you go. That's it. So I didn't have to I'm not like winded. It's just slow cracking around the equator, and eventually you'll hit the weak spots and it just comes open. I've seen this done with like machete. I mean, I'm like,
Seriously,
you don't need to do all that. Like,
yeah.
The green housing that holds the coconuts, yes, you need like a bomb to get those open. But the actual coconut itself that we sell, very little pressure is needed to actually open this guy up. Now, what can you do with this? You can scrape out the flesh, you can roast these, you can serve cocktails out of them, you can serve dessert out of them. They're really, really fun to do. And the juice you can hang on to for a later time. I'm going to keep stirring this. All right, let me get a piece of halibut on there before I proceed with my fruit. How am I doing, Charlotte?
In time, you got about 8 to 10, chef.
These will have days. I got days. All right, I'm going to do 2 pieces of halibut. A little bit of, not nutmeg, a little bit of coriander is what I'm going to use. Nutmeg, that'd be a whole different profile. A little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of salt and pepper is all I'm going to do on our halibut here. Why halibut? I'm not going to make the joke again. Halibut, just for the halibut.
Oh, come on.
I promised you a material
Just
from
for
here
the
moving on out. I feel like
halibut.
I'd be going back on my word. Whoa, say it together. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Always going to season afterward. I'm in the middle of camera, so here you go. I'm going to season always afterward because once I throw these on the grill, obviously some of the salt and pepper is going to come off. That happens normally. All right, Rob, are you ready for this? Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Let there be fire.
Super hot grill, clean grill.
Super
right?
hot, very clean. How do you keep your halibut or any fish from sticking? Spray it really well with a little bit of nonstick spray.
Okay.
Throw it on your grill, nice and hot, preheated. And just make sure your grill's clean, because anything you cook on your grill and you don't clean it off, you're going to have that, whatever's stuck to it is going to start sticking to your fish. That's why you want to always have like a firm flesh fish. I don't recommend cod on the grill because cod's a little bit, you see how our, I don't know if you can see that, Rob, a little bit of that caramelization going on there. I'm going to add our apple cider vinegar. Why apple cider vinegar in a chutney? Why not rice vinegar? Why not another vinegar? Well, you can use any other vinegar you want, but for me, you want fruit with fruit. So we're using fruit, so I'm using a fruit vinegar with apple. You don't have to.
That makes sense.
But I feel like you prefer it. Some other time, maybe over the summer, I just got a huge hit of the peppers. Breathing it in. See what I do? All I do. Sacrifice. All right, here we go. Get that off of there. The honey, the sugar. Let that all kind of caramelize. Now you'll notice I've got a little handy tool here. I'm going to be buzzing that all up when it gets the right consistency here. All right, halibut is done. That's on the grill. We're using that. That's going. Now, I go at a medium-low heat for this. I'm at a medium-low heat. You don't want to go crazy. I don't need to go nuts with it. Papaya. I'm going to switch gears really, really fast.
Yeah.
Switching gears fast.
I'll watch
Papaya.
your fish, chef.
Top, tail. Hold it up. Nice flat surface. Looks like a butternut squash, but it's so much more tender than a butternut squash. The great thing about these guys are, these seeds will scrape out very, very, very easily. Again, they're a little bit bigger, but you see how much easier it was than strawberry papaya? Scrapes right out. Again, the same thing. I could take my knife, I could score it just like this, straight down. I could do a little this like this. And I would take a spoon and I could just scoop all those little dices out. Be really, really simple. That's done. That's that. Papaya. Amazing papaya. This is the one I really want to show you, the aloe vera. Because in Texas, I know we use aloe vera mostly when we go to the beach to rub all over your skin when you get sunburn after being outside for 17 hours. That's the #1 use for aloe vera, I believe. But I'm going to show you how to fillet it. So dragon fruit. Now I've got a yellow dragon fruit as well. All right, Rob, you watching my thing? Let it burn.
No, you're good.
It's going. All right. Both are dragon fruits. The red dragon fruit or the pitaya. Pitaya? I probably said it totally wrong.
You got
It's got
that.
the leaves on it. This looks to me a little sexier than this guy. This looks kind of like a cactus that kind of like got just mad and angry and turned itself yellow. And you feel like it had these little things on there. But this one is actually my favorite dragon fruit. Dragon fruit, much like an avocado, only no pit, is straight down into the very soft flesh, straight through. You can see that there's a lot of little seeds in it.
Yeah.
You don't take those out, you eat them. It's very similar to a kiwi. Some are pink, some are not. I prefer the yellow. You see the yellow seeds are a little bit bigger. They both taste kind of like the closest fruit I can compare it to. So if you want like a comparison before we try it, would be like a kiwi. Only the red would be a little more like a kiwi with like 40 to 60% less sugar. And I would say the yellow one is like 30 to 40% less sugar. So both really good.
This is something I've always had a question about, and
Yeah.
I've been too embarrassed to ask. How do you know if it's going to have a red inside?
I think there's tells to it, but I don't know either. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. I just know that there's certain ones that are red, and I don't know if it's like if it's just a way they grow and they just kind of change to white or red at some point. So you just scoop them out, and these can also be. So let me show you this. I love serving things out of dragon fruit shells because you can use this absolutely as a little boat, right? You put your little tuna,
Rum drinks? Can you
tartare. I mean, you could. It'd be a little awkward. Don't spill my drink. Stop hitting me. Like you want to have something like that. To dice this up, it's very simply turn to the side, and then you've got a little dice. Same thing with the big one. The seeds get a little more in the way, but I do love.
Dragon fruit looks really it looks sexy in a fruit salad.
It is
or
delicious, and it also adds great flavor to our actual, to smoothies or whatever it is. All right, so this guy.
Check your fish, chef. How's our
my thing
fish?
doing? Is it all right? Am I okay over here? It's bubbling. We're caramelizing.
How's my fish?
I'm going to turn that down. My fish are still good. The good thing about cooking with halibut is they have a tell. So the tell is as soon as they start to go from that like translucent to opaque, you're getting really close. I'm not going to add more coriander to the backside. I'm just going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to it. I've got enough coriander on the front. I'm going to give a little spray here. Now, if we wanted to go like at a sideways angle, we definitely could. But I'm just going to do, how grilled am I? I'm all right.
Ooh.
So we can do with these, we can cook them about, let's say about 90%. So you see they don't stick, right? Clean grill, spread. Now watch, when I come back, they'll be all stuck, which is fine. That's the way that things work. All right, so we're doing our aloe vera. I'm going to cut the bottom off. I'm going to cut the top off. Save this for your sunburns. You can always use that. Just kind of apply as you need. I want to show you this, though, really fast. So the actual inside to, I don't know if you can see this, Rob. I'm trying to hold it down. You see this little membrane? See how it's kind of sticky? This stuff is sticky stuff to use. However, it's actually very, very easy to coax out of the skin here. Much like a fish, we're going to take the scales off. Never try and put a glove on with wet hands. It's fine. It'll work. I don't need the whole hand to do this. All right, so we're going to take the scales off. So we're just going to run our knife down the side. We're going to take those off. Be careful around the kids, obviously, with these because sometimes there's a good barb on there and you can definitely get a little sting. So now we've got our translucent, these things are so cool to me.
They
Aloe
look
vera.
really beautiful.
They're like, it's just such a neat like thing. So I'm just going to slide the knife, much like you would like you're just filleting a fish. And just kind of slide it under. Be really, really careful. There's zero resistance to the actual thing. Like if I'm just doing it, so I'm just trying to make right underneath here.
That looks so cool.
So you can see, look at all that. It's like, it's slimy. So save all that. So you can, I think we'll link it. I don't know if we can link it. I think we can. The recipe. So we did with the aloe vera, an aloe vera and lime panna cotta. And it's using, it's very, very refreshing. So this little stuff on the side, you can just kind of slowly take it off.
I just want to tell you from this angle, because I'm seeing the overhead angle, when you were running that knife underneath underneath the flesh of the aloe, it looked like glass. It was such
It does look like glass. It's really, really cool to use. Putting this in obviously, panna cotta is Italian cooked cream is the name of it. So it's very similar to like a you know, a flan or a creme brulee. It's a custard style base. But when you add the aloe vera to this, it just gives it a really, really nice flavor. It just gives it like it's almost like adding, but look at that. It's like, where'd it go? It's invisible. Dun, dun, dun. That is aloe vera. I'm going to see if I can try and show this to you, Rob. So see that? You see how stringy it is?
Whoa!
But
So-
you can blend that up. You can add it to water. You can do whatever. It's really, really cool.
It's good for hydration. It's good for
so many
like your skin.
great
It has
things.
antioxidant properties.
All right.
It's high in fiber.
All right,
It's
here we
also
go.
really cool to look at.
All right, they are really cool to look at. All right, our fish. I'm going to flip this over. We're almost there. Get a little flaky. We're taking some chances here. All right, can you see that, Rob? Does that work? I'll get a spatula to take it off. Here we go. Everything going to get cleared out of the way for our final little plate. How much time I got? Minutes to spare.
You're good.
All right,
I'm
here
here
we
for
go.
this.
You know what I didn't get, Charlotte?
What's that, chef?
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream. You don't need it.
You don't
ready
think so for the cheesecake?
For the cheesecake?
You don't want whipped cream for the cheesecake? I'm shocked. Where's the real Charlotte Samuel? You Tell us
Okay.
that. All right, this is going to go away over here.
I got an ice cold bowl in the freezer
Cheesecake.
for
Do you really? I know
Yep.
you do. All right, I'm going to turn off my grill here. I'm going to let the residual heat finish cooking that fish.
Okay.
I've got my yogurt for our baked. I'm going to pull out my cheesecakes. This is what this looks like.
So if you
balancing,
didn't want to buzz
balancing.
up your chutney, like, could we just leave it kind of whole like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So if you don't want to blend this up, you can kind of smash it around
Yeah.
and leave it kind of chunky. I mean, it looks really pretty, but this is going to reduce a little further. Eventually, when you puree all that, there's a natural pectin, which is going to get you to this. So I pureed this with my immersion blender. So you can see there's little flecks of that.
Yeah.
I love having the little seeds in there. You can see this. No, too hot.
Oh man,
Too
that'll
hot.
wreck you.
Too hot. All right, I'm going to put it over here. That's ready to go. Our yogurt for our baked, our cheesecake. And this is what I want to show you. So this is afterward, right? This is cooled over overnight. The way you want to do it if you have the time, obviously 3 to 4 hours will probably be sufficient.
Look at
no
that.
cracks. We have no cracks, right?
Like a baby's bum.
You're my witness. No
Smooth,
cracks.
Perfect.
Except baby's backs. Don't they have cracks? Typically, baby has
Oh,
cracks.
you got me there.
Close. That was that's still the C. That's still a C game. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting
Scott
there.
Tompkins, you are one of my favorite people on the planet.
All right, here's these little babies. Look at these guys. Come on. Come on. How great is that? So you see we didn't have to overcook them, right? There's 0 cracks in any of this stuff because we followed the rules. I want to show you this real fast. Boom.
Ooh.
What happened to our oven? It overcooked them. But that's okay. Holy cow, look how big that got.
What happened?
Why is this at 3? Oh, there you go. So when you're looking at the bottom one and you're thinking it's the top one, just FYI, be sure. That's why we do things in advance, folks, right here. Because you never can trust the equipment, nor the people that operate the equipment. All right, so here we go. Here's our mini cheesecakes. I'll move this guy out of the way here. So you got me some plates, yeah? Here we
Yeah,
go.
right up front.
Here we go.
You could serve that yogurt, that mango yogurt, on that cheesecake too. That would be delicious.
Absolutely. I probably will do that. So here we go. So a little bit of our,
Or just some cut up mango.
or some diced mango. How big a piece? You want that big? That big? That work? All right, here we go. Using the fillet knife that you should not use for such an activity. I won't, I'll be smart. Underneath the pie, lift straight out.
I am on pins and needles.
Custard should hold together.
Ooh-wee! Sorry, everyone.
All right, here we go. So all these little guys, little pies, a little whipped cream, but I think you're right. We're going to win in Rome.
Tompkins, that piece of cheesecake was perfect.
It's good, and it's so thick and so rich. All right, here we go. A little bit of this yogurt.
And the yogurt sort of like thickens back up.
It does.
In the refrigerator, like, ooh.
But wait.
Oh.
Not yet. We started with key lime. Let's finish with a little key lime. Come on, a little flecks of that good stuff in there.
Absolutely
Boom, all right.
gorgeous.
Uno. Or Huh? Come on.
Oh.
Then you can't get it out. It's like, this isn't going to work. All right, so we have our baked oatmeal. Here's what it looks like coming out. That's what that looks like right here. Now, I think you can... This didn't work in rehearsal either, which is kind of funny. All right, there you go. So here we go. Here's how we're going to do. Luckily, my friend Charlotte already cut it up for me.
I did
so
cut
here's
you
a
a
piece perfect for breakfast right here. We just scooped it out here. I'm going to give another one here just because. So we have another piece. So this is the kind of thing. So you would cool this off, let it sit on the countertop, or throw it in the refrigerator. And the next day, throw it in the microwave 15, 20 seconds just to warm it up. It's ready to go.
So I ate it cold out of the pan because
Yep.
I was dying to know, and it's like
Tastes
the
good, right?
edges, you know, like brownie edges, like brownie corners are like kind of crunchy and chewy.
Oh, yeah.
That has a really nice like brownie crunchy like corner. So I am a baked oatmeal corner.
It's not your
person.
normal oatmeal
It's delicious.
I'll put a little more up top here. Boom.
Perfect.
Breakfast, dessert, and finally, our dinner, our fish is pretty much ready to go here. All right. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time with this fish, like I did earlier, that I did not do earlier. Where did my good plate go? Here it is. Oh, there goes our camera. How'd that work? Did that scare you, Rob? Boom, as Scott trips over. Where'd you go, buddy? I'm down here. Everything's fine. Chutney's going. Here we go. I'm going to brush on. Let's brush a little chutney on here, shall we? Let's do a little center of the plate. I'm going to do a little brush.
Oh, an artiste.
Brush with the chutney. I want a little bit of it on the side, but let's try and... Here we go. Coming in hot. Hot hands, hot hands. Oh, see that, Rob? What happened? I'll tell you what happened. I didn't use my... Yes! Got it. Here we go. And because Charlotte said it was a little hot, I'm just going to brush a little bit.
I want to see what the chutney in the other pan looks like, chef.
Okay. Coming.
Ooh, I bet that's a good glaze for like chicken and stuff.
Absolutely. Could reheat it, but just a little bit. Just a little touch just to kind of wake up everything here. A little chutney. Boom. And, because we don't have everything monochromatic, right? A little fresh dill. I like dill. I like what dill does with the, where'd my good knife go? Got it. New knife. My other really good Dexter knife. Keep an eye out.
I love those knives.
So instead of chives, I love the fresh dill flavor. All right. Boom, boom, boom. The chutney, right over here.
I want to see what that looks like, chef, real quick.
So it's still going. Obviously, you can see it's starting to like, you know, papaya is breaking down a little bit. It's a really nice mixture. The only thing we're doing here is making it into a jam. We're just going to cook it down and cook it down and cook it down. What I love about these little guys is, wait for it.
Here, throw me one, chef.
For it.
Throw me a pie.
Throw you one.
Throw me a little pie.
What if it hits the camera?
Nah,
Somebody gets
you're
freaked
good.
out. All right, this guy, it's gotten a little soft.
You can do it.
Hanging.
I believe in
It's
you.
hanging. I know. I know. The suspense is. There you go. I just had to put it on the side here. A little shock in the side. It's okay. It's fine. You're not hurt. It's okay. All right, that's it. So super simple, super easy. A little cheesecake, a little bit of our dill on the cheesecake. That's what I like to use the same knife for. Dill and cheesecake. Who would have thought? Great flavor combination. All right, that's it. Super, super simple, guys. We hope this has been fun for you. Hope it's been educational for you. Hope you learned a little thing or two about our tropical fruit program at HEB. Go check it out. Go pick up copious amounts of coconuts. Crack them open. Show everybody you're a pro at it. And then you can always go back to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/HEB. Check out all the great past videos. More content getting loaded every day. For more great classes, you can always go to our website, heb.com/classes, to sign up for the next future classes. Thank you so, so much for hanging out with me. For other great recipes, you can always go to heb.com/recipes. Check it all out. What other YouTube thing? You want to plug your Instagram or plug your TikTok? I'm in that mode. I can do it. Remember all the stuff. That is it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week with more great content right here at heb.com/classes. Thanks so much for joining. We're going to stick around the chat to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, Please enjoy and go check out all the great stuff at your local HEB. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
See ya.